break. All right, B. Slade, the mic is hot. And as we had talked about amongst ourselves, while the commercials were playing, we may get a visit from rock royalty. You remember who I was telling you about? It's a guy named Dave Ellefson. You've probably heard of him before. Dave is actually in the studio with us now. David, welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Gentlemen, how are you? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit down with the Muay Thai Metal Show at 97underground.com. Dave, you got a lot going on. You hooked up with Rat Pack Records. You hooked up with Jeff Scott Soto. This is your time, so I'm going to let you talk. How did this all come together? This is fantastic. Tell us what's going on.
Cool. Well, there's a there's a bonus track on the Vacation in the Underworld. I think it's on iTunes. It's called Writing on the Wall.
I see it.
It's a song I wrote a few years ago, and I was looking for the right voice to sing it, and I didn't really even have a home for it yet. And so it's funny how this all happened because my guitar player Andy, honestly, it should say Ellefson, Soto, Martin, Jelly, right? Because he's as much a part of this, right? I mean, he's the co-writer and everything, and he's the engine, in the fast car. I mean, he's awesome. So there's really the three of us that wrote this record. But so Andy said, he goes, dude, just call Jeff. He goes, you're friends with the guy, you love his voice, and you're a fan of his work. So I did. I had Jeff said, hey, dude, can you throw him a vocal down on this? And he literally flipped it back to me like an hour, and it was killer. And I said, hey, we're writing some other stuff. You want to see if this kind of worked good? You want to do some more? And he said, sure. So we just started sending him tracks. And that's how this thing developed. And this was kind of early 2021. And, I was kind of looking to do the next Ellefson solo record. And I couldn't be more proud that it's Ellefson Soto, both of our names on the door.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, when Jeff and I were growing up, there were records like Whitford St. Holmes, which was Brad Whitford from Aerosmith, and Derek St. Holmes from Ted Nugent's band. They did a killer collaboration record. There was Hughes Thrall, which was Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple, and Pat Thrall, who played in Pat Travers' band. Of course, there was Coverdale Page, David Coverdale, Jimmy Page. So, he's kind of, I'll use your word for a minute. The rock royalty partnerships. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
They're cool. I think they bring the community together. And, I think for us, we naturally made a record that if you thought, okay, well, what would Ellefson and Jeff sound like? I think we nailed it, man. And we took some liberties too. There's another bonus track online called Out of the Blue, which is a piano ballad I wrote on my piano here at the house. And,
that's cool.
Friend, yeah, it's literally Beth from Kiss Destroyer. And I'm talking about just the dynamic of like Kiss being this cool rock band, and then suddenly Beth, you're like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. And that's what Out of the Blue is. And it's so we kept our focus, but we also weren't afraid to broaden our horizons and kind of widen the camera lens a little bit, and that allowed us to really, I think, make a hard-hitting 10-song LP, if you will, and then have some really interesting, fun bonus tracks and some other stuff for people to dive into as well.
I see that, man. It's fantastic, and the online presence is beautiful, man. How did you hook up with Rat Pack Records? How did that all come about?
Joe, who owns Rat Pack, Joe O'Brien. He's been a friend of mine for a while. We've talked about doing stuff. And I remember, he just started his label the same way when I started the EMP and combat stuff. Just you start with one record. You save the money, you do 2 records. You save the money, you do 4 records. And, he's really built that thing into a cool little empire. And he does a great job with these type of records. He's a fan of the music.
That's cool.
He signs what he likes. He doesn't screw around with it. Obviously, he wants to make money on it, so he signs. He doesn't do developmental things. He does legacy artists who have a fan base and a history. And so I hit him on this one. I said, Joe, we've been talking about this for years. What do you think? And he's like, wow, I love it. What do you want? So we cut a deal literally on the phone in like 5 minutes. And
That's really cool.
Yeah, and so he and everybody around the world was like, "Yeah, man, Rat Pack, they do it right." No, I mean, I just opened my box today because I was in Europe for 3 weeks, partly touring with Jeff over in Italy.
I saw
3 weeks ago. So I just my vacation in the underworld record is sitting here in my mailbox. So I came home and I opened it up today, and it's got all the pics and patches and it's old school, man. It's true freaking rock and roll, man.
And Dave, we knew that happened to you because we saw that on Facebook.
Oh,
yeah, we watched you unveil that.
That was really cool.
That's cool, man. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't do a ton of those things, so I figured this is one deserving of that moment.
I quickly want to say it is October the 7th. This recording is happening. The album dropped October the 7th.
Correct.
So you're getting this thing. This is like steaming off the press. And I'll tell you what. Look at that vinyl LP album. Look at the colors in that thing, Ron.
It's incredible. It pops. And there's some other stuff. I mean, they do a beautiful presentation for you, Dave. It's really cool.
This is all Rat Pack, man. I mean, Joe is a great artist. He created our logo. I mean, I had some kind of the E&S and stuff, but yeah, I mean, he really, because imaging this stuff is important. As rockers, we like, it's why we like cool graphics and record cover. I mean, how many records have we bought just because we looked at the cover and went, yeah, that's me. I want to buy that. I don't even know what it sounds like, but it just looks rad,
Yeah. So as soon as I saw it, I was like, wow, that's gonna look awesome on where my turntable is. Sit that up against the wall. I gotta have this now.
Yeah. Well, it's just like concerts, man. People listen with their eyes too.
It's very true.
When it looks good, somehow it automatically sounds good too, and I again, I think from a audio point of view, we put the time in on this, and I just think it was a moment where, these songs I think they're powerful, they punch, and it's something that if you're fans of me and Jeff, like, I think this one delivers.
I think you're correct. I agree 100%. And you know what, Dave, on that note, I think it's time for the Muay Thai Metal listeners to hear Ellefson Soto. What do you say?
I say we do it. Let's rock it.
Let's do the title track. Vacation in the Underworld, okay with you?
I love it. That's the best way to start.
You got it, man. You're hearing it right here at 97underground.com. We are sitting down with Dave Ellefson. He is the co-founder and half of Ellefson Soto. We're doing Vacation in the Underworld. Again, at 97underground.com, Baltimore's Pure Rock Worldwide. 97underground.com, Baltimore's Pure Rock Worldwide, the station your mother warned you about, and the Muay Thai Metal Show. That song, Vacation in the Underworld, happens to be the title track from the brand new CD LP that dropped today. As we record, you're going to hear this on Monday, but as we're recording, dropped today on October 7th. You will hear our show on Monday, October 10th. But that is the title track from the new Ellefson Soto CD called Vacation in the Underworld. Why are you hearing that right now? Because if you just joined us, we are sitting down with rock royalty, Mr. Dave Ellefson. Dave, welcome back to the show.
Yes, thank you, guys. Glad to be here.
You are very welcome, and we are happy to have you. Dave, I have to ask you, as I scroll down, I see the deluxe fan bundle. I see the MP3 download store. But I did notice that you guys actually did a cassette release of this.
We did. You know, again, hats off to Rat Pack. You know, they get this. They know the fan base. They know the audience who's going to be listening to this and buying it. And, you know, let's give them what they want. You know, cassettes. It's funny because cassettes have started to make a little bit of a comeback.
That's incredible.
Right? I mean, again, if you're a classic metalhead, and especially back in, you know, the days when I was getting started in the business, I mean, at one point cassettes were, you know, one of the largest selling formats until CD came along, of course, and kind of killed the cassette.
You got it.
There's analog, you know, there's analog freaks out there, you know, they love vinyl, they love sets.
Yeah.
Hell, one day they might even bring the 8-track back just for nostalgia. You know? Just to annoy us when they cut the track off and change channels, right?
No doubt about it.
8-tracks, but yeah, no, they you know, Rat Pack did a fantastic job on this, and with all the artwork and presentation, and I mean, couldn't be happier. It's a really great partnership with them as a label, and you know, I think in this day and age, it's kind of what you're always looking for, you know, because there's always these moments with labels where they can be adversaries and know, all this kind of stuff. And, you know, it's cool with Rat Pack. Look, it's one guy, privately owned, privately held, and you know, so he, and you know, we'll talk. We talk a couple times a week, you know. And
oh, that's cool.
And, yeah, and I'll you know, Joe will say, man, I was actually just listening to the album today. He goes, it's one of my favorite records. It's just great. So that's the kind of guy you want putting your record out. You know what I mean?
Hey, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, someone who's on the beam, you know. You
got it. Well, go ahead, B Slade. B Slade wants to jump in with you, Dave.
Yeah. Dave, I watched Like a Bullet on YouTube. Tell us a little bit about that video, how that came together.
Yeah, well, we shot two kind of proper music videos. We shot one for Vacation in the Underworld that we just listened to, and then Like a Bullet was the other one. You know, that seemed to be a song that Rat Pack loved. They wanted to get behind that as a single for the record. So, you know, there's some, obviously it's, you know, this day and age is kind of nice because you can add a lot of digital stuff with it, and green screen things. And, you know, so there's a lot of cool technology you can do with making music videos these days. You know, back when I was getting in the business, you know, the Peace Sells video probably cost 50, 60 grand, which,
wow,
you know, yeah, and maybe more, you know, and that was actually a cheap video back then, especially when, you know, Thriller was out, which cost $1 million, you know.
Yeah, no kidding.
Early 80s. So 50, 60, but, you know, Capitol Records was like, well, you know, we'll try one video and we'll see how it works. You know, that's kind of how it is with everything. You know, you run one up the flagpole, if it gets saluted, you know. Then they did the Wake of Dead video. That was a little more money, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, that's how this stuff goes. So it's nice in this day and age where, you know, records are released much more independently. And, you know, that you can have this capability to do these videos like this. And the guy that did it is actually a friend of Jeff's as well. Jeff was in a really awesome tribute band years ago called Boogie Nights. and it was all disco. Oh, dude, it was so good. I remember seeing them when they came to Phoenix. They played a place here called Gibson. I went down and saw them. They wore the wigs and the spandex and their disco shirts and the whole, not spandex, but like the polyester bands. And the high heels.
Right.
And they opened up with Disco Inferno. That
no way.
Dude, it was so good. And Jeff did that for a few years, and I think financially did incredibly well. I mean, it was kind of the precursor to Steel Panther because there was Atomic Punks.
Okay.
And or I should say Michael Starr and Satchel were in Atomic Punks. And so there's kind of this whole consortium of those guys out of L.A. who were starting these, these kind of the first trend of the tribute bands, And
yeah,
Atomic
right.
Punks obviously was a Van Halen tribute. And then out of that, of course, they became Steel Panther. And, but yeah, so it's, the guy that did the videos, I think he wasn't part of Boogie Nights. I don't know, maybe he booked those bands. I think he might have been the agent, or he was a singer in one of those bands back in that day. So, these guys were all kind of interchangeable, within these bands and stuff. And it was very cool, And
it is cool.
A lot of these guys had some major label, obviously Jeff sang with Ingve and stuff. And then when those gigs end, you fall into one of these other kind of things like you did, and you did great. So yeah, so there's just this is a really cool, fun brotherhood record on every level. From us putting it together to Rat Pack putting it out, and it's cool.
I can tell. I can definitely tell. I'm picking up the vibe. It's very cool. But listen, we've talked a lot. We've got more stuff to talk about. So I think it's time, Dave. Going back, we're talking about the video. What do you say? What do you say we roll like a bullet, and after that we'll come back and talk one more time.
That sounds good. Let's rock it.
Sounds real good to me. Sitting down again with Dave Ellefson, bass player from Ellefson Soto. This one, brand new video. It's called Like a Bullet right here at 97underground.com. Baltimore's Pure Rock Worldwide.
Go! Our anthem, this is our theme song. It's time to plant the flag, it's time to sing along. Not a
97underground.com, Baltimore's Pure Rock, worldwide, the Muay Thai Metal Show, the song Like a Bullet, the band, Ellefson Soto. Who's Ellefson Soto? It's easy. It's Dave Ellefson. It's also Jeff Scott Soto. And we happen to have Dave Ellefson in the studio with us as I speak. Dave, welcome back one last time.
Thank you, buddies.
No problem, man. So you got the new package with Rat Pack Records. Record drop today as we record. They'll be hearing this in 3 days on October 10th. But how about going out on the road, Dave? Where can the Muay Thai Metal fans see Ellefson Soto? What's in the works here for us?
Well, so obviously a record like this, a band like this, and as we are in this phase of our careers, we're usually doing a handful of things, different things. So Jeff being as busy as I am, Jeff's probably got even more commitments to the various things that he's doing. And of course, he's got a big one coming up, which is Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Right.
That pretty much takes him out from kind of, late October until January 1. So as we were talking about this, I had to get to Europe this last month in September for another record that I was working on over there in Germany. And I said, Jeff, as we were talking, it turns out he played a show with Sons of Apollo in Armenia. And I said, dude, if you can just stay there a couple of extra days, I'll fly over. Band's based in Italy. We'll fly into Italy. They'll book some shows. We'll bang out some shows. We'll at least get this thing propped up. I know it's a little ahead of the record, but it'll at least, once you play live, it sort of makes it real.
I got you.
It makes it a real thing.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So that's what we did. So like 3 weeks ago, we met in Verona, Italy, and we rehearsed, and then we played Turin, Milan, and Rome.
Wow.
And just had a blast. Not only did the songs come to life, and the again, it's hard when you hear a band and you don't know their songs. But what I really liked, and what I was kind of, sort of betting the farm on this one, was I think these songs are so listenable and they're likable.
Yeah,
that if
no
you've
doubt.
never heard them before, yeah, they're gonna impact you. You're gonna hear them. You're gonna like them. The band plays well, so we replicated the record very well live, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, people were just, at the beginning of the night, they were kind of watching and listening. By the end of the night, man, they were having the time of their lives. Jeff's not only a great singer, but a great front man.
Right.
He's funny. He's engaging. He makes people feel comfortable. And so he and I had a good banter on stage with the whole band, actually. So it was like the promoter gave us probably the best compliment in Rome. He said, that wasn't just a great concert, people to come and see a band. That was a fun night out.
Yeah, it was yeah.
Yeah, that to me is probably the best compliment I've ever gotten from a promoter, because, you got a lot of things you can do, and you got a lot of things you can spend your money on. You can go see sports, you can see a movie, you can see a concert, whatever, and then for them to come, and these were small little places, so for them to come to this small little place and they'd see and hear us and have fun, be engaged, singing along, and knowing that we're having fun. We're not playing big arenas and the big rock show. We're in a tiny, tiny little club,
right,
rocking the shit out of it. You know what I mean? So it's like they, that to me kind of summarized everything that we did in Italy. And so now, look, it's out there. Video's obviously online. So, from here, the phone rings, promoters want to hire us to go do shows or do cruises or whatever. Now we are open for business.
Dave, I got to get in on this Italy thing. I saw your dinner video, and I got to ask you, what did you have for dinner there?
Wow.
Dude. Well, first of all, pasta, of course. I had carbonara, spaghetti carbonara,
Nice.
which is
it was online. I saw them eating dinner in Italy.
That's great.
Yeah, and then I ordered a salad, but it was all kind of like eggplant and tomatoes, and it wasn't like your typical, as they call it, mista, like a mixed salad. It wasn't. I guess it was just their version of it. But what funny thing was, the guitar player Valerio, I made some comment. I go, man, the Italian food here is just amazing. And he looks at me and he goes, In Italy, we just call it food.
Right.
You know?
Wow.
Like we don't go like eat a hamburger and go, God, this American food is so good.
Yeah, right.
It's just food, right? So I mean, it's you just kind of put me in my place and think, God, touche, dude. That was a good one.
That is very good. That is.
I tell you, the
very good.
video, the outdoor cafe was beautiful.
Man, that area, I got to tell you, Verona is just one of my favorite cities there. It's, of course, been to Venice and all the big ones. And I haven't really, I haven't spent much time down south. Like, I haven't gone to Capri, which, as I understand, is just, that's, you just pretty much fall off the edge of the earth and never come home if you go to Capri, down by Naples.
Yeah, no doubt.
But, up in the north, Verona, Verona is like a mini Rome, where Rome.
You're listening to Dave Ellefson right here on the Muay Thai Metal Show. Stick around. Dave says goodbye right after this.